Hi there, Josh McGurk here with JLM Therapeutics, and today is a review on the Self-Care Saturday class that we just did that was yoga for desk jockeys. So a lot of people out there have a 9-to-5 job where they're working on the computer, and I, being self-employed, even have days where I'm going to be at home working on marketing emails and I'm sitting right in front of it. So the whole point for the desk jockey thing was to check in with wherever we are and be able to do a little bit of yoga in a chair, and maybe even using the chair standing up kind of around it. So the first part is that I don't want us to have to focus on fixing our posture and lifting it straight up. What I want us to do is just to notice exactly where we are. So right here, I'm a little slumped. If I turn to the side, there's a little round there versus sitting perfectly straight up with my hands there at the desk, right? At some point in time, I might be there. So in class, we focused on not having to worry so much on telling ourselves to sit up straight, but instead just notice where we are and then start doing some side bends and notice what happens with that. So the side bend being in general, rib cage coming toward the hips, shoulder coming toward the rib cage, and even the head coming toward the ear. Maybe your arms come over to the sides. And then noticing how your sit bones are. So are you changing a lot of weight in your sit bone? So I can get much further if I let my sit bones shift, so that my pelvis is shifting as well. And then from there move back just to the sides. And then from there we did some rotations. And pretty much went through the same thing. So how does it feel to move my rib cage on top of my pelvis? Then how does it feel to move my my shoulders on my ribs? And then lastly, maybe add the head. And as I do, is the weight in my legs and my sit bones shifting on the chair. And these can be as fast or as slow as you'd like. So two landmarks that you can really pay attention to in this are sternum and navel. So as you turn, is your sternum moving further than your navel is? And if it is, then you're using your rib cage. If it's staying the same, then you're actually using your legs more. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but check in the video how my knee is coming towards you a little bit more there. And actually my rib cage is moving because of my pelvis, not because of my rib cage. So check on that as well. Not that it's a big deal, you just want to notice what you're doing. And then come back and check in with posture. I'm going to turn. So remember when I started this, I was here, and I came to here. And I'm not quite at that full lifted up and tight back, but in between, and I'm more settled, right, just from those two movements. And you can do that standing as well, so you can stand up behind your desk. If you're at a standing desk, it's the exact same thing. So let's just say you're noticing at the end there that you're kind of sitting off to the side, your legs are shifted, you've crossed your ankles or something like that, right? So wherever they are, let's say you tend to cross your ankles as you're typing, then just keep them there. And go back to your side bending where your ribs are coming towards your hips, your shoulders are moving. And what will happen is then as you start to do the rotation part, you might be like, well, how weird, it might feel better just to bring my feet back to center. Remember that part about sternum and navel. So if you can move your sternum a little bit more over than your navel, then you're using your rib cage. And your shoulders are pretty soft. So we don't want the shoulder blades to be torquing quite yet, but you can add them in, right? You can bring your arms up and do a little bit more reach. And then from there, come back to standing after a few of those and notice what's shifted. Awesome. So we did a couple other things. We did one that was like improv yoga. So let's say you're in the middle of the side bend stuff, and there's this moment where you're like, you know what, this would feel amazing. And so my friend Kevin Moore's words would be, do you feel some mild euphoria in that stretch? He did the re-embody stuff. And so you get here and you're like, you know what, something like a reach, oh my goodness, would feel just amazing. Oh, and then you go to the other side and you're like, well, that would feel different if I went back. Oh, oh. And then come back and notice how that feels once you've done that little stretch, right? Where you feel the body says, hey, that would be super nice. So it doesn't matter what it looks like really in that instant, it's more that you're listening into what your body says. As you're doing, starting with the side bends, maybe you start the twist and you're like, oh, you know what? Oh. Some sort of little belly dancing yoga thing would be amazing right there. And then you could also do this, so let's say you sit like I tend to at my desk this way. You can also do those same options with the leg lifted. And I'm betting at some point in time in there, it might feel better for the leg to come down, for the ankles to cross, for the feet to feel more steady, right? 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, and that's it. So we did the improv stuff after the side bends and the rotations, and then lastly we talked about the 3 pillars of yoga of sorts. So we've got movement, so all those yoga poses. We've got breath, which the yogis call pranayama, and then we've got stillness or meditation, right, that yogis call dharana and dhyana. So if movement isn't happening and isn't changing things, then maybe just take a few moments to notice your breath, to do a quick body scan, to just see how you're feeling. So you can take some deep breaths, you can do the alternate nostril breathing, called Nadi Shodhanam by the yogis. You can also do, in class we did a bellows breath, which is in one side and out one side for about 20 breaths, in one side, out the other side, 20 breaths, and then in and out both sides of the nostrils for 20 breaths. I'll include some links below to Dr. John Douillard's link to some different pranayama breathing exercises as well. So then at the end of all of that, you just come back and check, how do you feel? And by all means, put some comments below. Let me know how you actually feel during your day, especially after sitting here, and then how productive you are after having added maybe that 2-minute exchange, that 2-minute little break. All right? Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.